Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Poppin' this D, about to react to this vid. This is what's one small, unimportant decision you made that changed your whole life. I think this is so fascinating. How you can make one small little decision and it completely changes the trajectory of your life. Like, it's happened to me so many times in my life. Like the decision for me to go to a party, and at this party I ended up meeting somebody, and then we went on to do XYZ, and then this changed my life for the, like things like that has happened to me many times. But we're gonna hear what they have to say. Let's watch.
And one small unimportant decision that you made that.
Okay, so February of this year was one of the hardest months of my entire life. It was awful. So I wanted a whole reset. I was having like a quarter life crisis. And I wanted to be in a different industry. I wasn't happy with where I was. And so I decided to reach out to this guy on LinkedIn, who I met him 3 years ago at a random conference. And I just asked him about what should I do? What should I get an apprenticeship? Should I get a master's? Where should I go? And he legit messaged me back saying, well, I have jobs. And I was like, what? Literally interviewed the next day, got the job, and uprooted my entire life. I moved from Chicago to Miami, Florida, and now here I am trying out everything new, and just, it's crazy. I'm like a completely different person than I was just a few months ago. It's amazing. Message people on LinkedIn. You never know.
Made one small, unimportant decision that you made that changed the whole trajectory of your life.
Don't come for my hair, it's wash day, but in 2004, I was spending the night at my best friend's house. And in the morning, she asked me if I wanted to sleep in or come with her to the incoming freshman volleyball camp. I called my mom. She said, hey, do what you want and call me and I'll come pick you up. So I decided to bring my book, go to volleyball camp, ask the coaches if I could sit on the sideline and watch while my friend played. And they said, sure. 5 minutes later, they asked me if I wanted to join. Fell in love with the game. Made the freshman team. 2012, I signed to play for University of Texas, full ride scholarship. And then when I graduated, I signed a contract to play in Poland professionally, became a professional athlete, played in Poland for 2 years, Italy for 3 years, Turkey for 3 years. And in 2016, I became an Olympic medalist. And I always wonder what my life would be if I didn't go to the camp and I would have slept in.
Yes.
One small, unimportant decision that you made that changed the whole trajectory of your life.
So when I was 16 years old, my ex-boyfriend had just cheated on me, and I was really sad sitting in my room. So I just decided on this particular day to go outside. Like, I don't ever want to go outside, but I was just like, fuck it, let's go outside. I go outside. I stood in the heat for like 3 to 4 hours. I don't know why. I don't know what possessed me to stand in the heat that long, but I did. I'm walk past the basketball court. This boy says to me, you're really cute. I said, thank you. He's not my boyfriend of 7 years and could potentially be, I got racist, y'all, so don't mind me. But, and could potentially be my husband. The point of this video is go outside, and if one man won't do it, the next man will. I'm trying
Period.
to say, do not sit on that couch and be sad. Go outside. I promise you can meet your future husband today.
This is one decision you made, one small, unimportant decision that you made that changed the whole trajectory.
I decided to call my aunt. And here's the backstory. It was January 2016. I was 19 at the time. And at that point, I was 10 months into a very unhealthy relationship. My partner wasn't emotionally available. I wasn't emotionally available. And we were both trying to love one another in a way that we thought was best for the other person, not what they actually wanted and needed. And so we hit a bump where it was very clear that we had issues, but he didn't want to go to therapy. And me being worried about the state of our relationship, I decided to call my aunt. She had given me great advice in the past, and I figured she'd do the same now. And what she told me in response changed everything for me. She told me that I deserved somebody who was at least at my level or a little bit above, so that they could pull me up to their level and we continue to uplift one another. And that the relationship starting off as me lifting him up to my level isn't a good start. And she was right. And that night, I broke up with his ass and never looked back.
One small, unimportant decision that you made that changed the whole trajectory of your life.
Story time. Me and my siblings grew up in the hood, like come inside when the street lights turn on type hood. And we also had one of them janky ass doors that you could only open from the inside. Well, one day me and my 2 younger siblings are home alone. We get bored. We decide we want to go play outside. After a couple hours, we want to go back inside, but can't get back in because once the door's shut, it only opens from the inside. Keep in mind that I'm the oldest of the three of us, and I'm 7 at this time. So what does a 7-year-old do when they can't get back into their house? They go ask the neighbor. The neighbor found it odd that 3 kids who were all under 8 were even home alone to begin with, so she called the police. They finally found my mom on a bender. All 3 of us got taken away, put into foster care, and eventually adopted. All because we decided to play outside.
Made one small, unimportant decision that you made that changed the whole trajectory of your life.
Wow.
So, July 7, 2011, I worked at a daycare. There wasn't that many kids, so I decided that I'm going to go home. So I leave. I find out it's my friend's graduation party I didn't think I was going to be able to go to. So I drive out to Ocean City. I go to my friend's party. There's this guy there. He's freaking awesome, but I have a boyfriend, so I'm like, listen. He's like, no worries, but we get along really well. I go to leave. I lock my keys in my car. The next morning, after I finally got my keys out, we leave again. I realize I'm lost, so I Facebook stalk this guy. I'm like, listen, you're 5 cars ahead of me. I don't know where I'm at. He's like, no worries. So he helps me get to where I need to go. I go home. He goes home. He texts me, he's like, listen, I know you got a boyfriend, but you're freaking awesome. If anything ever happens, just like, hit me up, think of me. So I'm like, okay, bet. So I go to work. This lady's like, listen, if you leave your boyfriend, what are you out? Like a crappy boyfriend that treats you like crap and you're always depressed and he cheats on you. So I break up with my boyfriend. Long story short, I end up dating this guy. We get married. We have 3 kids and we've been together 10 years. It's fantastic.
One small, unimportant decision that you made that changed the whole trajectory of your life.
So in 2010, I took 2 summer jobs. One of them was at an ice cream parlor, which was awesome, and the other one was just like a retail job. And I mostly just took that job because my sister worked at the same company. And after 1 summer of working in both of those jobs, I loved the ice cream parlor, mostly because I got free ice cream and I could walk to work. But like I wasn't really interested in being a cashier or working retail, so I decided that I would not come back the following summer. Anyway, following summer rolls around, and as it turns out, I can't really get as many hours in the ice cream parlor as I wanted, so I opt to go back to this retail job and just like figured out kind of make the best of it, even though I didn't really like it. And as it turns out, I absolutely loved that summer there, and that company was REI, and now 11 years later, I still work for REI. I now have my own YouTube series with them called Miranda in the Wild. I am an outdoor influencer, and honestly, I have the absolute dream job.
Decision you made, one small, unimportant decision that you made that changed the whole trajectory of.
This stitch was made for me. Decided not to call out. I gotta give like some context though. Like I absolutely didn't. I never wanted to be a therapist. I'll be honest with y'all. I was pushed into this profession. Like it is honestly something that I'm naturally good at. I found after I started doing it, but like. I avoided it like the plague. I was a macro social worker and had a macro internship. The day I almost called out, like I had to do an event for my professor that I worked under, I wound up not calling out. The person who I wound up introducing to my classmates wound up giving me the job at the agency that I have now, and which is why I'm a full-time therapist. It's levels to it. I'm so glad I didn't call out that day. Y'all wouldn't even be seeing me.
Made one small, unimportant decision that you made that changed the whole trajectory of your life.
December 31st, 2015. So for New Year's Eve, my friends and I decided to get dressed up and go bar hopping downtown for the holiday. We ended up about 11 o'clock at a little bar that didn't have a ton of people in it. And my friend was messaging this guy that she had known on Tinder for like 3 months. And they had never met in person. They had never brought it up. They'd been talking daily, but they just hadn't had the chance to yet. And he was being super obvious, saying like, oh man, I wish I had plans tonight. What you and your friends are doing sounds so fun. And so we all start to get drunker and drunker, and she's still messaging this guy. Well, she ends up going to the bathroom at about 11:30. So I grabbed her phone, and I texted the guy the address of the bar that we were at. And, long story short, I am getting married to him.
Bitch!
So that's pretty fun.
What is one decision you made? One small, unimportant decision that you made that...
So last year when the pandemic hit, I was laid
off
for my job that I had worked for 4 years and had 4 promotions. And a month later, they were like, never mind, we need you to come back to work. So I went back, and they cut a bunch of people, and they started to add extra work to your regular role without a pay raise or anything. So it became unbearable and just not this. I went on LinkedIn and I applied to a few jobs, and I worked at one company for 1 month, and then I got hired at a different company, which is the company I'm at now. Completely different industry, a leap of faith I had to take. I have been at this company now for 5 months. I have been on the most amount of vacations I have ever been in my life. I have an apartment next to the beach. I just got a promotion.
Okay.
I doubled my salary. This is your sign to get the...
Okay, cool. You know, they had different job opportunities, different opportunities to meet husbands, even though that last chick was tracking as fuck. Girl, what? That is so sick, bro. And you coming on TikTok to brag about that you stole your friend's dude. Well, I don't call him her dude because they wasn't together, but still, that's real low. Like, she was talking to him on Tinder. But yeah, I expected something a little bit more interesting. I want them to say some wild shit, but this is very realistic. So, you know, I'll give this comp that. You know, I'll be complaining that people be lying a lot on TikTok, but this seemed like a pretty honest, regular comp. So that was cool. Y'all let me know what y'all thought. Let me know what other videos you want me to watch, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Bye.